Hello again, it's Patricia Ann. Welcome to my channel.
And Tommy D, her permanent guest host.
You figure that out, right?
So we're doing part two of our experience at Palma, Allegro,
Allegro,
Palma de
Palma.
Real in Varadero, Cuba. The part two that you've been waiting so anxiously for, anticipating, hoping, waiting by the phone, sleepless nights, and here we are, okay?
The party hotel.
Right. Party Hardy Geezer Hotel.
So,
Okay, so the one thing you have to remember when you're at Palma de Real, now remember this is really, really important. Do not discuss politics. This is Cuba is Cuban government, and they're very, 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 very sensitive about politics. So leave anything to do with whoever's running the country. Do never ever discuss this with anyone. Okay, because remember you're not in Canada, you're in Cuba. So do not discuss politics here. Okay, just leave it at home.
seriously, it's a
Seriously, I
serious
am
thing.
serious. Do not discuss this here.
No.
The police here in Cuba are tourist friendly, which you won't find a lot of countries when you travel, but they are very tourist friendly, pro tourist in Cuba. The positives are Cuba's very, very safe, very, 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 very safe. It's not because they're angels, it's because the police are very pro tourist
Yeah.
and they don't want anybody bothering the tourists. So basically, you could fall asleep at 3 in the morning in the middle of Varadero. Nobody will bother you. Now, there's other countries you can't say that in.
No.
But in Cuba, I've researched it intensely. I do all the research for our trips, and Cuba is one of the safest countries in the world you can go to. Even Havana is extremely safe. It's That's one of the great pluses about Cuba. It's an extremely safe country. Anyway, so Palma de Real. So we're in our we're in our groove. We're in our second, third, fourth day.
And we go down to Varadero. I said,
Right.
let's go down into Varadero.
Right. So you walk out of the hotel, and I said, I love palm trees. I'm a real palm tree
Me too.
person. I love palm trees and ocean. It's great. Went to the ocean about 6 times. Went to the beach. We
Yeah.
went into Varadero. We walked down Varadero. And Varadero is it's like a small, sleepy town. Apparently, it used to be Fidel Castro. He had a house there at one time.
Oh, yeah, we saw
Yeah,
it.
he used to use it as his vacation home.
Overlooking the
Yeah, I
water.
think it's gone now, or it's been revamped.
Demolished.
Yeah, but at that time, the lady had told us that used to be one of Fidel Castro's states, and you can see why. It was just a really beautiful, very colonial. I mean, Cuba's a very different kind of country because of the infrastructure. So you walk down Veradero, and you walk through, and Patricia had to go to the toilet, right? You had to go to the washroom, right? So you go down and washroom. You walk up one side of Varadero, walk down to the other side. Okay, so you get walking down up one side, and you go. She had to go to the washroom. Didn't realize that there was women outside the washroom who charge you a peso to use the toilet.
A
You're like, okay.
square.
They don't give you a roll. They give you a square of toilet paper.
Can you
So
spare a
square,
square?
like Seinfeld. So these ladies sit up front and they give you a square of a toilet paper, piece of paper, toilet paper for a woman. I thankfully was very smart not to have to go to those up. Men have to take whatever. But the other part, no, I just very smart about that part. So I had to give the lady a peso, and wife went in, came out. It happens, right? I mean, this is how it runs when you travel. Right? You have to adjust, right? So we're coming back, and there was, we were a little younger then. So the guy in Cuba. You can take a garage and turn it into a restaurant within 3 hours. Okay, so what was once a garage, now the guy is wearing chef clothes, and the guy has now turned the place into
A
a
restaurant.
restaurant. And this guy used to come out with a tux, and he had this green lobster. And I used to look at him like, I'd say to him, I go, why? I said, do you really think this is going to attract tourists come in here to eating looking at a green lobster?
Pacing
now?
up and down in the
Yeah,
sun,
with a
afternoon
green
sun.
lobster.
I think it wasn't green in the beginning, but the heat
Yeah,
got to it.
yeah. It got to it about 4 days ago.
Yeah.
So actually, we actually ate there.
Yeah, we did.
He did, and we actually had shrimp and rice, and
It was really good.
and I always have, although I do not know, I not now any longer have that policy that the dirtier the washroom, the better the food.
No.
Cuban in washrooms in Cuba at that time tend to smell worse than when they clean it. So after they clean it, it smells worse. So it's like an old mop that your grandmother kept in a closet for 20 years and then put a bit of rubbing alcohol, and it just smells disgusting. But again, at that time, I had a policy that the more filthier the washroom, the better the food was. And the food was great.
It was really actually quite tasty.
It's actually quite great.
Yeah.
So the guy who was the chef, probably 3 hours earlier, was a mechanic fixing cars. So we walk along, and we get to this was the outer regions of Varadero. When you get down towards where we were, it was more like I could say downtown Varadero. So we're coming in, and this guy we were going by, and he had this park, and we went into the park, and we got to practically know Cuba's one of those places that have to practically beg people to play Cuban authentic music.
Yeah.
Not that whole Ricky Ricardo from I Love Lucy,
But the authentic
stuff,
guitar,
the nice guitar music, right? Romantical music. You really got to pay or beg for them to do that. It's all this, dun 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 dun, kind of.
Yeah.
And he said, "Can you just play some really good, nice Spanish guitar music?" So the guy gave him a few pesos, but we ordered daiquiris, but we forgot we were off the resort.
And I ordered a pina colada. Did I pay for that?
Yeah. And we forgot we were off the resort
You
where
did.
I use regular Cuban water.
I forgot.
So we found out later on in the evening. But I had a beer, so I was lucky. But the pool itself they had in front looked like a big pool of green pea soup. So I was like, okay, cool, you're in Cuba. So we go into this shop where they have this selling stuff, selling booze and that. And for some reason you can get green label Johnny Walker Scotch booze in Varadero, but you can't get Pepto-Bismol, right? Now this is the kicker.
You need a prescription.
Yeah. See, in this particular place, they supposedly had a doctor on call 24/7. To see the doctor, you got to pay $200. It's supposed to be included in your medical insurance, but they actually have to pay $250 to see a doctor. Then you have to get a prescription for Pepto-Bismol.
What we can buy here for $6.
Right, and then you got to go to the pharmacy and pay the pharmacist for the Pepto-Bismol. So not only are you paying $250 out of your pocket, pesos, which is like $250 Canadian, to see a doctor to get a prescription, even though it's on your medical insurance, they say it's not included.
Yeah.
So that's one thing you have to be careful again. When you go into the low-end resorts, they really back-end you with all these extras to up the price so that you're basically buying your own rum. I bought my own rum and took it back to the room, locked it in the suitcase, bought a bottle of cheap Coke, and I kept the Coke in the bathtub with cold water, so they kept it cold, right? So when I came back, and I hid the rum, and so I just basically bought my own rum when I was there, and I have this beer I bought too called Cristal, which is really good beer. It's
really nice and crisp
really
and dry.
Great beer. If they sold it here, I'd buy it.
Me too.
You can buy it in town. It's really cheap. Rum is like $8 for a 26 ounce of rum, and Bacardi. It's really, really super cheap for rum. So it's not a big deal. You buy a big bottle of rum. So you go in the shop and they watch you like a hawk, man. I mean, they have security guards. So you come in, get your bottle. I got a bottle of Bacardi for, like I said, $8 for like a 26 ounce. But I'm not a huge drinker, so that was fine. Bacardi Gold. Cigars are quite cheap. So you want to buy them. I don't smoke, but if you want to buy cigars, it's really cheap. So then we don't want to walk all the way back to the hotel. So what happens, there were some hotels across the street from our hotel that we went over and looked at. They're really nice actually, but they weren't all-inclusives. They were more like you had to pay for everything, European plan. So we looked at some of the other hotels. They were a little more nicer, but they were like very colonial style. But I'd never seen them on TripAdvisor, so they must have been either local hotels for Cubans or maybe advertised in Europe. I never saw it here, right? So we just enjoyed the atmosphere, sitting in the lobbies and such. So we're coming back, and this guy is coming by with the horse and buggy. And I asked him how much to go back to the hotel. And he says 10 pesos. And I'm like, well, I'm not paying 10 pesos to go on a 10-minute horse and buggy ride down towards the hotel. So I told him, no, I'm only going to pay 5. He goes, no, 10, 5. So finally we settled on 5. And I swear to God, I seen the horse's ears go up. We call him Poncho, right?
Oh yeah, Poncho.
So we get on the horse and buggy ride, and I could tell Poncho's ears when he heard 5 instead of 10 pesos. Right? And you have to be really careful when you're in Cuba when you get travel, because you have to tell the guy bargain the price before you get on, otherwise you'll get ripped off, right? As again, that's the problem with low end hotels is that they try to jack you up with extras to compensate for the price that you're paying. So always remember that for what you're if you hear people on TripAdvisor saying, yeah, I eat all my meals in town and that. Well, that kind of again defies the purpose of it all inclusive. Why would you spend 1,000 pesos to eat in town when you can just get a nicer hotel? Okay, so anyways, we get in with Poncho, and his ears stick up. We're coming down, and when we're turning the corner, he went so fast, I swear the whole thing was going to tilt over to one side. Like I thought, Patricia screamed, and I thought, oh my God, our obituary is going to say, Patricia and Thomas die from horse and buggy accident from
in Varadero.
Something out of the 1860s. What do you expect? How'd your dad die? Oh, he got hit. He died in a horse and buggy accident. Okay, so we're not Mennonites here, right? So
I said I'm never ever getting back in that contraption again, and I did not.
No. So the horse and buggy ride, when we got around a corner, and I thought it was going to tip over. Now Poncho's ears had stuck up, but I think when he hears 5 pesos from his driver, he knows you're getting the second class treatment. Okay, didn't even tip the guy; just gave him 5 pesos. Made it back to the hotel, got out of the car.
God.
Thank God. Looked at him. He looked at me. I gave him his 5 pesos, and I said, "Never again.
Never again.
Never." That was our one trip in the time into Varadero. So then we get back to the hotel. Mm-hmm. And okay, so let's talk about the nighttime.
The nightlife, yeah.
Nightlife. So there's a disco nearby. When you go in the disco at that time, there was a lot of Russians, a lot of French Canadians. But again, we're not disco people, right? So, and the thing about the beauty about when you get there is that it's 1966. I mean, there's no credit cards, there's no debit, it's all cash. So it's like 1967, okay? So when we got on the bus, when we got there, they were playing Air Supply and ELO videos from 1980, 81. So I said, okay, well, we've gone from 66 to 1980. We can handle that. I mean, like if you like Air Supply videos, that's great. I said, okay, we're in 1980. We lived in that era, and it's a big step up from 66, right? So now you're 1980. So we get Nightlife. Now this is a Cuba's a straight.
I like the nightlife. I enjoyed it.
If the guitarist is booked from 10 to 11, as soon as it hits 11, even if he's in the middle of a song, he'll stop.
He'll pull the plug.
And he'll plug it and he'll walk away.
He'll just walk away like he's everybody else in there. That was the most peculiar thing. You could be on the dance floor, having a really good time. 10:30 comes.
Yeah.
Plugs out.
11, he's gone.
And everybody stands there looking at each other like, what next?
Now, outside of the heavy duty partiers, they had this really great river dance thing at night.
Oh, yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
It was good.
Really excellent river dance. But the thing is, at a certain time, it closes. And then the whole crowd rushes over to somewhere else for the entertainment because what's next?
Yeah.
And then you realize by a certain time, that's it. The evening's
There's
done.
nothing next.
Unless you're going to the disco.
Yeah.
And again, listening to Saturday Night Fever, the disco is not going to do it for me. So
by 10:30, entertainment's pretty much done.
We're at that time, we were at the age where we weren't 20 years old and we didn't really care about all that. So we just old folked it back to the hotel room, and Patricia took her showers, and then Patricia, we watched TV. I watched TV. She go to sleep. And then you wake up in the morning and the whole thing starts again. Beautiful. Yeah. We were lucky; it never rained. Everything was beautiful, blue skies. Yeah. And sometimes I just actually go out on the side of the hotel and listen to the traffic go by, and just by myself. She just sleep in the room. So we went to the hotel lobby, and I didn't bother with the main. I didn't bother too much with the main lobby bar because it was always packed. They always give you this watered down rum. It was just like Santa Maria, they call it. So really watered down hooch. So that's why I just basically ordered a beer or whatever. And back then they used to give it to you in a bottle.
But behind the building in that bar, you get the good stuff if you tip.
But even if you do tip, there's no guarantee of anything, right? So basically, if you want to wait in line for 25 minutes to get served, or you just say, you know what, I'll just basically bring my own stuff in a cup, and I just put some rum and coke, and it's just easier that way, right?
But listen, what we do is just real reviews. We're not bitching or complaining, because actually the reviews we actually had a good time, but we're just giving you the pros and the cons and just being real. If you go here, you're going to enjoy yourself, especially if you're the younger crowd. You can drink, you can eat. It's all inclusive. You have entertainment. You can go into town. You walk into town, take you about 20 minutes. The beach is beautiful. You can relax there all day. There's another bar across the way there where you can sit and drink to your heart's content. So if you want to do something like that, you'll have a good time.
And the washrooms were actually quite clean. I was surprised. The washrooms in the hotel were really clean. The lobby washrooms were really super clean. So we were in the actual at nighttime. The lobby bar was always packed, but the bar that we had where we at our part of the hotel, a lady was really, really nice, and she gave us the real stuff. So it was nice to have some real rum from them. And after about 3 drinks, I could feel it. If you have the watered down stuff, the Santa Maria, you're going to be drinking 86, and you're still going to be not feeling it.
Yeah.
So she gave us the real stuff. I think it was the Bacardi, but the good stuff. So I had 3 or 4 drinks. We were talking to her, gave her a few tips, and she's really nice. And I got the really good stuff, not the Santa Maria. I got the good Bacardi, right, gold.
But the key is, if you're traveling, even if you're in an all-inclusive, tip. If you tip, you get better service. I know everybody says we pay for it and we shouldn't have to tip. Well, the reality is you do have to tip.
Yes,
if you want to have an even better time and people take care of you more, just tip.
Yeah, it's a form of insurance, right?
Yeah.
It's the kind of it's the kind of hotel that it's, as I said, like if you have low expectations and you just want to party, and you don't really care about the food too much, and you just want to sit by the pool, you're 22 years old, and you're drinking and you're partying, and it's music
and it's edible. You're gonna
be fine.
You're gonna be okay.
Believe me, we met a woman who came from a 1-star, and she was thankful. Her and her friend were thankful as hell to be here compared to where they were. They wouldn't say where they were, but
they were seniors.
They said it was absolutely horrid.
Awful.
Like they were thanking God they were here.
Yeah.
So please be appreciative when you travel. Like we talk about stuff, but you know what? We overall, like, the black mold, the toilet paper, those are things you have to adjust to when you travel.
But we had a good time.
This is not for the Kardashians, okay?
No.
But if you're, like I said, if you're in your early 20s and on a budget, you can party from morning to night in the hotel. You never even have to go to the beach.
Nobody bothers you.
You have a great time. A lot of people there are noising, drinking, party.
And there's about 3 pools? 3 pools.
Yeah,
so
the
that's
main
quite a
pool
lot.
is huge.
Yeah.
And all we do is just party. So basically they take over the seats, and if you're into that, you'll have a blast. You're just having a good time drinking and playing the music and palm trees and sunshine. Where else can you get? I mean, really, where can you get that kind of fun for like what, $1,300, whatever?
I never saw children.
No, not too many. No. We saw a Muslim couple, which was really unusual. They were full Muslim gear, and they were walking along the beach, and I was kind of like, I thought. One of those things when you travel, you meet people from different cultures. And it's kind of like...
You wouldn't think they would travel there, but they were comfortable.
Yeah, she had full burqa on.
And a child who was about 3 years old.
We never talked to them, but they see them on the beach sometimes with their child. They were in the lobby sometimes just having to have breakfast. I met a lot of French Canadians.
They love Canadians. So Canadians.
But because we had just been from Canada, I don't really want to sit around and talk about hockey or the Blue Jays because, I'm not there for that. I can talk about that when I get back home. Yeah. So we met a lot of, ran a really nice couple the night before we were leaving. That they were actually sad that
we were leaving.
Yeah, and the night before we were leaving, they were there. So they were so upset that we were leaving. I said, but
we would have hung out, but we were leaving.
But the thing is, too, you're going to meet some Cuban hookers there, and they're pretty ferocious. Like, they're like barracuda sharks. So it kind of freaks you out because it's like... They
sit in the hotel lobby looking for prey. And
they look at you and they stare at you like a shark.
Yeah.
And they don't care if you have a girlfriend. They don't care if you're married. Doesn't matter to them at all. It's not a judgment call. It's just how it runs down there, okay? So you'll have, I would say, Palma de Real, we stayed there one time. I can't see myself going back there. No. Mainly because of the gas fumes. That's probably what it was.
Yeah.
Other than that,
I think maybe whatever. If you just want to go and have some fun and just sort of hang out, sort of thing. But Other than that, because of the gas fumes, I don't think
we would go back to that particular
no.
part. We've been back to Varadero, but a different part of Varadero, further up the chain where it was away from the fumes.
But the fumes are not every day. It's just certain times where
3
they
nights
say
out of the week.
when the wind blows a certain way, that happens. But other than that,
yeah, as I said, think about Pittsburgh in August in a heat wave. That's in a sloggy day. That's what it's like. So we had a Overtall. We had a great time when we were leaving. We got back to the airport. This was the scary part. When we got, now remember, you're in Cuba. We had ran out of money. Okay, we didn't have any cash because you can't use debit or credit. So the night we were leaving, it's supposed to be at 7:00. There was a whole bunch of people getting on buses, and everybody was just ready to leave. You know, they did your week and your time to go back home. Couple after couple are leaving. There's only us and these two other guys left, and I'm sitting there kind of like, what's going on here, man? Because this bus is like 40 minutes late, and we don't have any cash. We got nothing. Like, we didn't have 10 cents. It was just nothing left. There's no bank machines. There's nothing, okay?
Yeah, but we were all-inclusive, so I wasn't worried.
Right, but the problem is it was the last night and we were leaving, okay? The bus was 40 minutes late, hadn't showed up. The last group of guys, they were getting on Nolly tours, and she came out, Nolly tours, and they all got on the bus and left. It was us and two other guys, and then we thought they were waiting with us. Apparently, no, they were going to Havana to party for the night, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking, oh my God, we're the only ones left. And I'm sweating it out because Patricia's staring at me, and I'm sweating because I'm thinking, Jesus Christ, how am I going to get to the freaking airport with no money, and there's nobody here, and I can't walk there, and I'm sitting there looking straight ahead, freaking out because I'm thinking I sleep on the Cuban grass in the park.
And then it arrived.
And then Patricia's staring at me, and I'm staring ahead, trying not to freak out. Bus pulls up, and she just looks around and if we had been inside the hotel, she'd have left.
Yeah, if we were inside the hotel sitting down, or I was in the washroom.
Yeah.
They don't come and say, and
hey,
read
we're
out.
Looking for you, you're on the list.
No, they just stand there, look around if they don't see you.
And I said, excuse me, are you like for Sunwing? And she goes, yes, I am. And I go, oh, we're on your name. And she goes, yeah, you're on our list. And I went, oh my God, if we had not been there, say if we'd have gone in to use the washroom.
Yeah.
Or they wouldn't have come in. They would have looked around. We're not there. They would have split.
So just be mindful that when you're leaving on your last day,
stay where you're. Wait until the bus gets there, even if they're an hour late. Because you go in, ask the lady where's the bus. They don't speak English. By the time you come out, the bus has come and gone. You're screwed. So
they speak English, but they just don't come in and say, "Are you so and so?" You have to go to them. So be very careful and mindful of that. We waited outside. We didn't even wait inside the lobby because there's no guarantee they're going to walk up inside and look for you.
There's no Uber driver, there's no debit machine, there's no credit card machine, there's nothing, there's no cash. Once you run a cash, right? So basically it's 1967. So when you're sitting there for 45 minutes and the bus is late and you're the last couple and there's no one else, the other two guys are going, like I said, going to Havana to party. And they have a 2-hour trip going to Havana to spend the night. And you're the last couple there, and you're 40 minutes waiting for the bus. Believe me, when your wife's looking at you, seeing if you're going to freak out, and you're trying not to freak out because where is this bus? And then the bus finally arrives.
You see, you're in Caribbean time. Having, Barbadian parents and lived in the Caribbean for a while, born in England, time is really different in the Caribbean. They don't stress themselves out. No. They get there when they get there.
When you go to the bank in Varadero, people will line up and they'll talk to the cashier for like an hour, and you're sitting there going, "Come on!" And they're like, they don't care. They just like, "What's the rush?" So it's like I said, we've been to Cuba 4 times now. Patricia's been there 5.
So we must have liked it.
Yeah, we're old pros at it now. But when it's your first time, you don't know what's going to happen because you have no money and you're vulnerable and you don't know when the bus is coming. And she didn't even ask.
No.
As I said, she didn't even ask who we were. No. She just came off the bus, looked around, and we had to ask her. And I thought, if we had been inside for like 2 minutes,
we would have missed the bus.
We would have missed the bus, and they won't come back for you. They have to take a taxi. We don't have any money, right? So we got on the bus. We get back to the airport. Went through everything, and we get there, and basically, it was the airport of Varadero is it's again, it's Cuba, right?
Yeah.
So you get on, you get on you wait in line, do your thing, and at that time you had to pay for the extra. At that time you had to pay for the visa. Now
that 25.
Now it's included in your
Yeah.
price, but back then you had to put aside 25 pesos. So we had 50 pesos on us, but we could not use. At that time, if you did not have that visa, you could not leave Cuba.
No.
It was like their way of getting the last $25 out of you per person.
Before you leave.
Even though we had 50 convertible pesos that we put aside, at that time, it wasn't included in your trip, so you had to pay that visa or you couldn't leave Cuba.
But things have changed. It's been a while since we've been to Cuba, so...
It's been a few years, like the lockdown, but now it's included in your trip. So back then it wasn't. So you always be warned to make sure you pay for the visa when you're coming back at that time.
And when you're filling out the card,
don't make any mistakes.
No, because you get charged for that. And when I say charge, a fee.
Declaration cards.
A couple in front of us, the girlfriend, she wrote it wrong and she just thought you could tear it up and get another one. And the stewardess said, no,
it's like $25.
You have to pay again, and you don't do. So you be very careful. Make sure you declare what you have. Don't try to hide it because it's not worth the aggro.
Now remember, before you go, remember that normally, like when you go to Cuba, remember the ups and downs and in-betweens, okay? That it's not Bahamas, it's not Dominican, it's not Mexico. Cuba is a country that if it had its act together, could be a great expat country of retirees from Canada. It's a huge country. The best beaches in the world.
Beautiful. It's my favorite place to go is Cuba.
If they had upgraded to the point where now Dominican Republic is now passing Cuba,
taken over,
and Cuba is becoming more of a haven for Russian tourists and less Canadians, but more Russians. French Canadians, but you get a lot of Russians now and locals flooding the resorts, and that really changes the whole atmosphere. So Cuba's not even being advertised now in certain travel agencies. They just do Dominican Republic. So again, it's really a shame because Cuba is a beautiful country and there's some really beautiful people, but it would be a great place for expats to retire if they upgraded the game. But unfortunately, the Dominican Republic has passed its by now, and Cuba is becoming one of those kind of destinations where you go to our last trip. The guy didn't even advertise; he didn't even have nothing on Cuba. No. I said, he says, no, we don't advertise Cuba. We went to can't remember the travel agency we went through. Anyways, we went to Flight Center.
Flight Center.
And they said that they don't advertise Cuba anymore. It's just Dominican Republic.
It's a shame. It's a shame.
And Dominican is now the next level up. And it's a huge difference between Dominican Republic and Cuba when it comes to amenities and food.
And that's another talk we can have. We've been to the Dominican, and we also will be chatting about Havana, which is not a beast, I would call it. It's a beast. We'll
switch it up. We'll do the Dominican Republic. We were in Baja Principe, La Romana. So the next review will be the Dominican Republic. So we can switch it up a little bit. And then we'll go back to our last two trips to Cuba, Havana, and again to Varadero. So what we'll do is, like I said, we'll switch it up. And we'll do our review for Baja Principe, La Romana, which is very different than this review. So,
well, thank you for listening, and please subscribe to our channel if you are enjoying our chats. And as I said, we keep it real and honest. And the places that we've been to, we have a good time. Sometimes not a great time, but we've always enjoyed ourselves.
We're always able to take a 2-3 star and turn it into a 5-star experience to suit our needs.
Exactly.
Again, you will not meet the Kardashians at this hotel, but overall, be thankful that you're in a beautiful country with palm trees and beach, and for what you're paying overall, it's a great experience. So again, we'll go on more about stories and places we've been. So I hope you enjoy the channel.
Okay, so it's Patricia and
Palma.
Bye.